Awesome. Recording. It's February 20th, 2018. Welcome to the weekly Daily Rituals Zoom meetup. We have an epic meeting every single week where we discuss mindset. We discuss how to create breakthrough in your life, whether it be fitness, just your life in general, all the areas of your life, relationship, career, and really we ask the bigger questions like, what's your life purpose? What do you really want moving forward? How can you achieve the best version of yourself and still maintain your sanity and some semblance of a work-life balance, hopefully. We have a lot of parents that come on, being able to kind of like, with parenthood, especially because I have 3 kids, I know, you want to put a lot into your kids, but you can't forget about yourself, right? And we tend to put, just as nurturers and as parents, our kids first, or a lot of thought and nurturing into them. We have to do the same for us. And in fact, we have to put ourselves first so we have more to give to our kids. And if you're not a parent, same thing with those that you love in your life. If you put more into yourself, you have more to give. So that's why we meet every week to kind of recharge our batteries on this. Coach Anthony Steele just came on the line. What's up, Coach Anthony Steele? Woo-hoo! Yeah. What's that one you used to do, Coach? It was like the sprinkler. Yeah. Here's a side note. Coach Anthony used to we'd be training this big group of 30, 40 people, and he'd have them all stop, drop, and roll, like a straight up fire drill. Stop, drop, and roll. And they'd all be on the ground rolling. And burning calories. And love it. Yeah, and the I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And please, if I'm going through this and you want to just interrupt me at any time, interrupt me, ask a question. This is supposed to be a dialogue, not a monologue. And we'll definitely open it up for a Q&A at the end where I want to hear back from you guys as much as possible. So I'm sharing my screen now. All right, give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat box if you can see the screen. Excellent. So, isn't it? I got all dressed up tonight. I got all dapper tonight. I got the collar, the little hat. But you guys don't know what I have down below. That's the thing. That's the cool thing about doing these Zoom meetings. I could be in my boxers. I could be, sweatpants, whatever. Today, yeah, it's just the boxers. Or no, I'm just kidding. It's the sweatpants. Yeah. But I can just be myself and have fun. So every week we meet up, talk about life rituals. These are things that we use inside the Way of Life Bootcamp. These are things we use with our mindset clients. These are things that, I share with friends and family. I'm your host. A couple things about me. I'm a mindset coach, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. I'm a wannabe guitar player. I'm a dad of 3. I'm a Fortune 500 consultant. I'm a second-degree black belt taekwondo. I'm an international best-selling author. I'm a bookstore browser. I'm a meditation teacher. And if you haven't met me before, you'd probably want to know who the hell is trying to teach me these lessons. And just want you to know that I've been through lots of different ups and downs in my journey. And it's because of that I teach. So we teach every week. We do about a 15 to 20 minute deep dive into mindset, daily ritual, health habits, sometimes a case study, different trainings, and then we do a live Q&A. So in today's epic training, we are covering how to stop self-sabotage once and for all. So you guys see that button right there? Go ahead and push the button if you're ready. Uh-oh, don't. That's a self-sabotage button. Yeah, why do we press that button? It's right there. Why do we always do that? Why do we sabotage ourselves? That's the question. It's like this cartoon right here. This guy's sitting out on the tree limb. He climbed up this tree. He's got a beautiful view, but he's sitting there with a saw and he's sabotaging it. He's cutting off the very limb that he's sitting on. Why do we do that in our lives? We're not stupid. We know there's certain things we shouldn't do. So why do we continue to do them? Here's something to keep in mind. There are very successful people out there that self-sabotage on a regular basis, so don't feel bad. Part of the reason that they succeed is they keep failing, but they keep moving forward. And, we got a picture here of Tinkerbell from Disneyland, Peter Pan. Self-sabotage, you shouldn't, but you just can't seem to help yourself, right? Tinkerbell, and she's got the mosquito zapper light and she's intrigued. She sees the light. Oh yeah, I'm going to go in. I know it's bad for me. I'm going to go in and touch it. Zap. Right. And we do that. We do that with that ice cream that's in the freezer. We do that with, we're trying to save money, but then we go and spend our money. We do that with our relationship by, maybe acting controlling and pushing someone further away when really what we really want is a more intimate relationship. So there's all different ways we self-sabotage. We want to lose weight, but we go for that cake at the birthday party. There's all kinds of ways. The number one reason that we self-sabotage is this. Our brain is sending us mixed messages, okay? Our brain is literally sending us mixed messages. We're getting pulled and pushed. There's a tugging back and forth. There's not an alignment where everything is pointed in one direction. When you have everything pointed in one direction, then you can move forward. But if you have different aspects of yourself fighting, you'll tend to self-sabotage. Or really, you'll tend to overthink. And overthinking leads to self-doubt. And self-doubt leads to procrastination. Procrastination leads to you then self-sabotaging. I've done it many times myself. I'm an expert. So what if we get the money? These are the questions that happen to us, right? We want, let's say, to make $20,000 a month, let's just say, right? What if we get the money? Sorry, we have a dog. We have the people on the loose. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Pitbull on the loose. So what if we get the money? This means, so say we want to work our business or work our, our career up to the point where we're getting $10 or $20,000 a month. Let's just say. Well, there might be a part of you that used to achieve or used to get and accumulate love and attention because you didn't have money. And there might be a part of you that, if you get to $20,000 a month, you might have to become a different type of person. And there might be some fear and some resistance with that. For example, another one, what if I did lose the weight? I was just talking to a client today. She said she had to fight many times inside of her weight loss. She's already lost, dozens and dozens of pounds. But she had to fight against that many times because she didn't want the attention. She didn't want somebody to come up and say, wow, you look great. You look amazing. And let me give you all this attention. She was used to maybe hiding in the background and hiding in the shadows and hiding behind a layer. That makes sense? So there's a layer of safety sometimes in our unconscious mind of where we're at in our comfort zone. And to move into change, even though that's what we want, there's a mixed message going on in our brain that's fighting against that. So, have you ever met that one person that you just constantly bring life drama, right? It's like every other day, there's some major life catastrophe going wrong. Raise your hand if you know that person, right? Yeah, you've probably seen them do some Facebook posts. You're just like, oh my gosh, how can this person have this much freaking drama in their life, And it's true, they're just creating that over and over. But what if they actually stopped? And they're not going to get that attention, that love that they've been receiving from that. So there's a whole reward mechanism going on in the human brain where they actually receive quite a bit of pleasure from the life drama, believe it or not, even though it's catastrophic every other day. It's like crazy. What if I do receive the love? So this might be in a relationship where you're getting to that point where it could be a bigger commitment, and it might be very difficult to stay committed or stay in the relationship. And then all of a sudden you're doing things that just sabotage the relationship. You're pushing the person away. You're, let's see, if somebody can go ahead and mute. I think somebody's getting some background noise. I'm not sure who it is. So you might be pushing a person away, or you might be just creating some type of drama inside the relationship because you feel once you receive the love, then what? Who are you going to have to become? Are you going to have to put a ring on your finger? Are you going to have to get kids? Are you going to have to, live this life that you might feel in your mind that is a constricted life and not as free as you thought? So these are some of the things that can go on inside someone's mind. For years, I was a smoker. I smoked from age 12 to age 23. And so over 10 years, I was smoking over a pack a day. Cigarettes, I never thought I would be able to quit. And I think the biggest thing was, what if I do quit? Like, what will I do to relieve my stress? How will I, what will be my new thing that I do, like on my work breaks, or, like when I'm getting in and out of the car or after a meal, how will I function? And so once the brain has an unknown, our brain puts on the brakes, stops, right? And runs the other way. This is the self-sabotaging mechanism in place. All right, John Assaraf calls it the psycho-cybernetic mechanism. If you ever read the book The Answer by John Assaraf, or if you ever study John Assaraf stuff, he has a lot of detailed explanation of that. And it's everything, right? Career. What if I start that business? What if I write that book? What if I start that podcast? There's a lot of unknowns. And so the mixed messages, that's what's causing the self-sabotage. So who has the background noise? Somebody, I could put the group on mute. I forgot. Let's see here. How do you mute the group? Oh, here we go. Did I mute myself?
Yes, you did.
I did. All right, so let me see here.
It's the 760-453-282 number.
How do I mute Coach from the shared screen?
If you go to more,
yeah,
on the side, go to more. It should have mute options there.
Oh yeah, audio options.
You could be able to mute all, or you can mute participants one by one. So if you go up to that 760 number and go into the right.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. So mute. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So, are you still able to see the screen? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So remember this: your brain moves toward pleasure and away from pain. That's the big thing that your brain is always doing on a consistent basis. Cookie Monster says, "Today, me will live in the moment, unless it's unpleasant. In which case, me will eat a cookie." All right. So he wants to live in the moment, but right if it's unpleasant, he's going to eat a cookie. How many people self-sabotage in their diet just for that very reason? As soon as there's an unpleasant sensation, some type of comfort food can cure that unpleasant sensation. So your brain is constantly doing that. So what I want you to ask yourself is, what pain has self-sabotage cost you in your life? Okay, and you might want to write some of this down. Just what are the pains that self-sabotage might have been causing you in your life up to this point? Also, what pain has it cost your family or your loved ones? You self-sabotaging yourself in different areas of your life. What pain has it caused your family and your loved ones? Also, what will happen if you continue to self-sabotage? What's going to happen 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? What's going to continue to happen if you continue to self-sabotage and you don't correct that? So, and I love this little quote here: self-sabotage is fulfilling one need, which is that need to feel safe, at the cost of our well-being as a whole, right? You may be surprised to know that the sequence in your brain that contains the pattern of self-sabotage is the exact same sequence as a pattern for success. Imagine that, right? If you look at the cycle of self-sabotage, your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your results, right? The results you get create those beliefs. The thoughts that you think create the feelings that you have. The feelings create the actions that you take, and they lead to the results feedback. And that can continue to sabotage you. On the same token, the same can be said of the cycle of success. Your beliefs and your thoughts create your feelings, which create your actions, which then create your results, and that cycles through. So how do you create the right type of cycle for yourself? Robin Sharma is one of the most amazing success coaches in the world. He says our biggest enemy is our own self-doubt. We really can achieve extraordinary things in our lives, but we sabotage our greatness because of our fear. And sometimes people take that word fear and they go, I don't have fear. It's not fear. But if you really study it, there is some type of fear in the subconscious. And fear is one of those really, really deep human emotions that we all face. There's no shame in fear. The thing is to understand it and move beyond it. So we self-sabotage in so many different ways, right? We have that little angel, we have that little devil. We self-sabotage in weight loss, saving money, relationships, career, education, friendships, health, you name it. Go ahead. I would like to hear from maybe one or two people. What's an example that's coming to your mind of self-sabotage, either through something you've done or that you've seen someone else do and that was painful for you to watch? Yeah, let's hear from one or two people. What are some real world examples of self-sabotage? Who would like to go first? Who can give me something? What's a sabotage? Something that you've seen somebody do? Nobody's ever sabotaged?
Okay. So I have a friend, definitely not me, sorry. I'm too analytical not to do this to do this.
Yeah.
So I was helping somebody try to understand their calories in, calories out. So I told them that MyFitnessPal really helped me, and she started logging things in, but then she started not to log everything very accurately and skipped on some things because it made her feel bad. And so she, after a while, started to wonder why she was gaining more and more weight. And I was like, well, your data isn't good. I don't know how to help you on that, other than it's probably better just to log it in so you can actually see it. And then, you need to make more steps with your Fitbit, or go to the gym, or just probably not eat that other cookie.
So what was going on there, Eva, in terms of like pleasure versus pain in her brain, right?
Yeah.
So it was causing her pain to log and to become more aware. So
right.
What does the brain want to do? The brain wants to push away the pain.
Right.
The brain wants to move toward what we associate as being pleasureful, whatever that means. So no wonder she's going to sabotage.
Yep.
This doesn't make me feel good. I'm going to push it away, right? So she has to get rewarded in the moment for something that she's doing in order to get her to move forward, because she needs pleasure, some associated pleasure that she sees to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really, really good example. We see that all the time, right, Coach Anthony? All the time. Yes. Who can give me one more self-sabotage that's not health and fitness related? Like something that's different from health and fitness, maybe in education or career, relationship. Yeah, Martha.
I'm here with Dimitri.
Hi, Dimitri. Hi.
Dimitri has his skateboarding class, and this weekend he wanted really, really badly to do a drop, like a skateboard drop. And we spent a lot of time with him at the top of the drop, trying to recognize what his brain was telling him. And we had this conversation about recognizing that your brain is trying to keep you safe, and it's trying to tell you that it's going to hurt and that it's not going to feel good and you shouldn't do it and you should stay where it's safe. And it was definitely like a moment of self-sabotage, but he was able to push through the fear, and he got it done, but it took a while because the self-sabotage was creeping in. So we were just having that conversation right now about self-sabotage and awareness and fear. So I see it all the time in little kids, and I'd hate to see, just, you said it's a cycle, and if you don't break the cycle, then it ends up in your adult world and all these different categories.
Yes, most definitely. That's a good one, Dimitri. Thank you for that. Thank you, Martha. That's a very concrete example of how fear can just override in that mechanism. And dropping into the bowl on your skateboard can be the same thing as maybe public speaking, right? That can, it can be like the same type of fear, dropping in, or dropping into a new fitness program, or dropping into, you know, writing that book or creating that business. It's all that same feeling of like dropping in. So Dimitri, I really commend you, because I know what it's like. I used to skate. I used to drop into bowls too. And you really have to visualize it and see yourself doing it. And I remember one time I learned how to surf, but for 2 months before I learned how, all I did was pop up and visualize myself surfing. And when I actually got out on that wave, what I did was I visualized it so much, I actually was successful in getting up my very first time, which is very rare for surfers, right? So that's so amazing that you overcame that. Nice job, Dimitri. Thank you, Martha. That's a great one. So next, let's see here. So why can't I play this? Oh, here we go. So your intent is always good, right? So everything we're doing is for pleasure. We're trying to find pleasure. So even the bank robber, he's robbing the bank. He wants happiness and pleasure. His brain is going toward pleasure of getting the money. Even though he's going about it all wrong, his intent is to create pleasure from his mind. So it's to create a good outcome. Your brain is always just doing its job. It's avoiding pain and moving toward pleasure. So don't feel bad about it. Celebrate it, then get strategic, take action, and align yourself with your goals. So it's time to make sure all your thoughts and your feelings about your goals are in alignment and not in opposition, so they're not creating any more mixed messages for you, okay? So one more note, here's something that's interesting. Your subconscious mind is 6 seconds ahead of your conscious mind. When I learned this, I was like, wow, this is why, like, you know, for people that are, you know, eating that cake, that cookie, that ice cream, you know, have you ever gone into the freezer, opened up the ice cream, started eating it, and then midway through, you're like, what the heck am I doing? I'm supposed to be on a fitness program, and you're watching yourself, and you're literally still going. It's nuts. And your subconscious mind has already made the decision for you. That's why. And now you're going, what the heck am I doing? Right? The same goes with like spending money. Oh, I want to save money. And all of a sudden you find yourself, you're at the mall and you're buying such and such because you got lured into the marketing messages, and bam, you're spending your money right there. So your subconscious mind is ahead of your conscious mind. So don't battle your subconscious mind, align with it. So Tony Robbins, you guys know Tony Robbins? He is the king of making complex change simple, fast, and effective. Tony Robbins uses something similar to NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. He uses something he calls NAC, neuro-associative conditioning. And this is to recondition the mind and make rapid and permanent change. And recently I got to go to one of Tony Robbins' events. There's nothing like being able to see him live on stage and getting live training from him. I'm telling you, it was life-changing. It really was. Like, he's not a hype guy. He's a transformation guy. And I have a lot of respect for him. So something to note, if the term reconditioning the mind seems like spooky or a bit out there to you, just consider this. We are bombarded with over 5,000 marketing messages a day. You know, why wouldn't you want to start curating the information that's going and being fed into your brain? Why would you not want to, instead of being force-fed and conditioned by your environment on a daily basis, like Facebook, you know, YouTube, you know, television, marketing, billboards, everything that's coming at you, why wouldn't you want to spend at least some time conditioning your mind in the way that you want to condition your mind? So that's what I would have you consider. NLP and NAC, they're very similar. Actually, NAC came from NLP. So they're both a way to recondition the mind. They help you gain success in the areas of life that you choose. If you're not familiar with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, neuro is your thinking process. So that's the way your senses are understanding what's happening around you. Linguistic, language, your words, the way you use language and how it influences you and those around you. And then programming, right? Programming, if you think of like a computer or software, programming, your behavior, the way you organize your ideas and actions, which produce expected and unexpected results. So before we start, I want to make sure you're ready. So I want you to be totally ready. Are you ready to learn the 6 simple NAC steps that can change your life right now? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're ready for that. Yes. Are you ready to stop self-sabotage once and for all. Now, that's a big commitment, right? Are you ready to really stop this? Are you willing to put aside cynicism and skepticism for the greater good of your well-being, your happiness, and the happiness of those around you? If you are ready for that, raise your hand. Yes. So great. Let's do this. Let's do this. Step number 1, you could write these down if you want. Decide what you really want and what's preventing you from having it now. So decide. Step number 1. What do you really want? And what's preventing you from having it now? As a coach, seriously, when I ask people this question, people come back and they go, wow, I never thought about what I really want. Really? Are you kidding me? And it's always a shocker to me. I'm surprised at how few people actually put down on paper what they really want in their life. Do you want to travel more? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to have deeper, intimate relationship? Do you want to write that book, create that business? What do you really want? And get clear about that. And then also, why not have it now? Why not? So ask yourself, why not that? Why not now? Then step 2, you need to get some leverage. Okay, create some leverage. You need to associate massive pain to not changing right now and massive pleasure to experiencing the change, or to the experience of changing now, right? So associate massive pain to not changing now and massive pleasure to the experience of changing now. So here's an example that Tony Robbins gives. He talks about the Alpo diet, where a group of women, they had failed on diet after diet after diet. Finally, one of the ladies was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge all us women in the group. If one of us screws up on this diet this time, you got to break open a can of Alpo and eat it right in front of everybody in the group, right? And so everybody in the diet group kept that can of Alpo with them at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the duration of their diet. And guess what? Not one of them cheated. All of them got great results. Why? Because they would have had to open up that can of nasty, slimy dog food and eat it, right? And that's kind of an extreme example, but that really does work. And it can be used in a lot of different ways. That's just one example, but you have to associate some type of pain and some type of massive pleasure, right? I think it was Coach Anthony one time, didn't you visualize like dog poop or something like that? And then you had to push it away, and it was easy to push away the food, right? Yeah, awesome. Step number 3, interrupt the limiting pattern. Okay, interrupt the limiting pattern. So this is where, you know how like a record has grooves on it and it has a pattern of music that you can play, right? Back in the old days, I have a record player, but back in the old days, they used records and they have these grooves on them. But if you came up and you scratched on the record, you couldn't play the record because the grooves have been all scratched up. And so with that, what you want to do is the scramble pattern, okay? The scramble pattern. So you want to see the situation in the mind that doesn't serve you anymore. This is actually the literal process that you would take. Then you want to turn it into a ridiculous cartoon in your mind. You want to have cartoon music, color, big Mickey Mouse ears and a Pinocchio nose. You know, like imagine that you're self-sabotaging with cookies, right? And now, like, let's say it's those Thin Mints. You know, those Girl Scouts are out to get you right now. I know they are. The Samoas, the Thin Mints. So say that you have this ridiculous cartoon image of you eating that cookie. And all of a sudden it's, you know, purple and pink. You got big ears. You got some crazy music like dun, 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 and the cookie's just gigantic and you're just like stuffing it in your face. And it's just totally ridiculous. So play that in your mind over and over again, at least 12 times, until your brain goes, you know what? Eating that cookie is freaking ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely absurd. Like, you could see the humor in it. By the way, people also use this method to get over like past traumatic events. So like major life traumas. And so if you can take anything and turn it into like a weird cartoon in your brain, create like this weird music, just make it ridiculous and make it all warped, play it forwards, play it backwards. You know how like you could see a movie in reverse, see it go forward, see it go backwards, all that type of thing until it becomes so ridiculous. And then notice how you feel about it, right? Really just sit there and notice how you feel about it. And don't take my word for it. Try it after this call. See what happens. And you'll probably feel like whatever that pattern was, like, oh my God, why was I even getting hung up on that pattern? Like, it was totally ridiculous. Like, I don't even, it just becomes something that you can't even connect to anymore. Okay. Then step 4, you have to then create a new empowering alternative. So it's not enough to pull out the weed. You have to plant a tomato or a carrot or cucumber, some kind of vegetable in the weed's place so that the new vegetable can grow. So what is the new empowering alternative for you? Maybe instead of eating cakes, maybe it's every time I get the urge to eat cake, before, now I'll pound a thing of water and I'll do 20 push-ups. Or maybe every time I used to go and spend money on frivolous things, I'll set up an app. I don't know if you guys have heard of the app Acorns. There's this app called Acorns. You go in on your phone, and every time you want to add like $5 in, you can just add $5 and it goes into a DNT account. Okay. A DNT stands for do not touch, right? Do not touch account just goes on the side. You could save money that way. And so, whatever you can do to replace that old pattern with a new and empowering alternative, that's what you want to do at that point. And then write down all the reasons that give you pleasure from that new thing. So for example, I was talking with a client today and she's been putting off her bachelor's degree, right? She's been working so long for this, but now her last 2 classes, she's been kind of putting it off. And we were talking about why that is. So her assignment is to write down all the great things that'll happen because her mind is sending her mixed messages. Like, what if I get that degree? Then what? How am I going to have to show up differently in my life? There might be some fear there, and then it'll cause the self-sabotage to happen. So her job is to write down, if I do get my degree, I'm going to be so proud. I'm going to feel so accomplished. I'm going to be able to use that degree to X, Y, Z. So you see how that works? Just continue to write down all the great things, all the amazing things that are going to happen when you reach your goal. Step number 5, condition the new pattern until it's consistent. So consistency is something that we talk about over and over again at the Wave Life Bootcamp. It's the law of reinforcement. You have to have consistency. You have to keep coming back to it to make it consistent. One of the things that we share here is a daily rituals binder that you can literally go through page by page, and every morning you can get consistent on your vision. You can get consistent on your affirmations. You can get consistent on setting your goals and achieving them. So you have to have some type of system in place that conditions that new pattern until it is consistent. And then the last one, step 6, bring it out into the real world. You got to test it. Test it. Does it actually work? Can you go to the party and say no to the cake, right? Can you go to the to your mother-in-law and say no to the tamales at Christmas time, right? Can you actually test it and make that happen? So unless you test it, you don't know if it really works or not. And if it doesn't work, go back to the other steps, do them again, and just keep moving forward with it. Eventually, it will turn its tide, but you have to have all the steps in place. So I'll leave you with this today. This is with success coach Brian Tracy. He says, if you can dream it, you can do it. Your limits are all within yourself. Okay? So if you can dream it, you can do it. Your limits are all within yourself. So true. So thank you very much, you guys. Thank you very much for being on this. That's a very descript method, step-by-step method. If you want to learn more about it, go to the book by Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. I've been able to use that step-by-step method many times, and I'm still using it. And the reason why I'm teaching it today is I've got things I want to overcome right now in my life, and I'm going to be using that method to overcome self-sabotage with myself. So I hope that you can do it, test it, give me feedback, let me know how it works. All right. If you're watching this on the replay or live now, you can go into the Life Rituals Binder Project. It's a Facebook group. Just type in Life Rituals Binder Project, and you can get tips. You can get the actual binder. You can download and print it out. We have videos that we're uploading constantly. So we're just here to support you. And we have a lot of epic meetings coming up, things like 3 ways to stop overthinking. We've done that one before. Pretty soon we're going to discuss the 4 A's, how these create a path for reprogramming our unwanted past conditioning, how to create new beliefs and new powerful beliefs that serve your life now. And then there's so many things that we keep touching upon week by week. So we're really thankful to have you. We're about to start the live Q&A. And here's what you can do if you haven't done it already is go to www.patreon.com/lifebinder. And there's different ways to get involved. And you can become a contributor. You can become part of that Lifebinder movement, which is creating life rituals that help people succeed in different areas of their life. So thank you so, so much for your time and energy. We're going to open up the Q&A or let's see here. Go ahead and take everyone off Zoom. And this is what we do is we go around the room and we get at least 5 people that can contribute to the conversation. What we do is we talk about what was your one takeaway? What was one thing that you learned? What was one thing that you can apply? Or maybe you're one thing that you're deciding that you're not going to self-sabotage on anymore. So what was your one takeaway today? And I always pick Tanya first as a rule because she makes eye contact and you can't.
No. I'm going to let some other people share this week.
Okay, she's gonna pass for right now. Jessica, what was your one takeaway, Jessica?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I was just thinking a lot about what it is that I self-sabotage, and I guess what came to mind was going back to school, because I've been having that in my mind since like last year, and I know I want to go back to school. I know what I have to do, like take the GRE. I've gone to an orientation to see the campus. I talked to the director of the program. Like I have all this information, but I guess just listening to this, I guess I really have to think about what is it that's stopping me. And there's different things that come to mind, like, well, it's expensive, money, I might have to move. There's a lot of little things that come to mind, but I guess applying the 6 steps and like really paying attention to what it is that's stopping me might help me get to where I want to, because I know that's the school I want to go to. I know that's a program I want to do. I'm actually going to a vegetarian conference next week in that same school because, you know, that is the school that I want to go to. And that's not the reason I'm going, but it just so happens that they're connected. And it represents what I want to do. So I don't know, it's just making me think a lot about what it is that is holding me back.
Good. So now you can see that resistance that you might have inside of you is not this like, you know, crazy thing that was just out of the ether, out of nowhere. We all have that, and it's totally okay. It's just that your brain is doing the job it's supposed to do, which is, you know, it's trying to move you toward pleasure and away from pain. But now that you know the 6 steps, now you can go in and just literally go through the 6 steps, and then all of a sudden, bam, you know, go out and test it, which is step number 6, right? You got to test it. But when you go through it, you'll notice that you get this whole new freedom to move forward. It's like, you know, before you might have been driving a car with 1 foot on the gas pedal and 1 foot on the brake. So now you'll be able to take your foot off the brake and just go forward with it. So that's awesome, Jessica. Thank you. Nice job. Yeah, good. And best of luck on that. That's an incredible goal you have in front of you. So nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's hear from someone else. What is your takeaway? What is your one takeaway?
First, I'll go. This is Eva. So my takeaway is step number 2, getting leverage, associating massive pain to not changing now, and massive pleasure to the experience of changing now. Because this is a game changer to me, because personally I have gotten comfortable in my anxiety and the discomfort of things. Like when you stay in a relationship too long, like you're totally uncomfortable, but you've gotten used to it, that you're actually comfortable in it. And you know, it's change in life I have been told many times is painful. It is very painful. That's why it's a slow process, why it's hard to do. But you just got to like get through it and understand that's just part of life. Life is pain, change is pain, you know, and seeing this as like, if I just associate staying in bed for a long time as something that's painful and will cause me issues later, and if I do this, interrupt the limiting pattern to me staying in bed too long, because okay, I think we all know that Eva's been on a self-imposed sabbatical for too long, and she needs to get off her ass and get some stuff done. But I think, you know, this number 2 step is going to be a game changer for me. So I really appreciate that. I think the Alpo diet just sounds disgusting, but that I could see working. You know, I could see how that's a thing. Definitely for a challenge I'd done earlier, I had a buddy in it, and if I lost, he lost. Even if he, you know, did 100, you know, did 150%, did 200% better than he thought he was, and I didn't complete my portion, we would both lose. So for me, when I will see someone go through pain because of something I did, is definitely a way to do it. So if I had a mass number of people that would agree with me that if we screwed up, we'd all have to eat a can of cat food, I think
But the getting out of bed one is an interesting one. It's like, how can you, just get yourself out of bed by associating massive pain and associating, a massive pleasure to getting out of bed and getting going with your day. So the pleasure part is probably easier with that one, because you can think of all the amazing things that you can do with getting out of bed and starting your day. But the pain, like, how do you create associate an amazing amount of pain with staying in bed? Like, I don't know, that might be something that we have to brainstorm together as a group. Maybe you have to you have to go, if, I don't know, somebody would have to kind of call you out, or you'd have to call yourself out. Maybe post yourself on social media every time you do it and say, I'm in bed again. And you have to make a funny face like, eh. And then you're not going to want to do it, right?
That, or get one of those alarm clocks where it like smacks you in the face.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I've seen people like make those, like, they're like engineers, and like, this is how I get myself out of bed. And they like smack themselves like, yeah.
Actually, they have another alarm clock. It sits there on the counter. It has wheels on it. And then when it goes off, it jumps off the counter and it goes underneath the bed and everything. You got to chase it around the room. And, yeah.
There's ones where you have to like shoot the alarm clock. Like, you have to do some like thinking process. There's one where it's like a puzzle. You have to solve it before it goes off, and it's really loud.
However you decide, tell me about it later, because I want to, whatever you get, I want to learn. Thank you, Eva. Thank you so much. Great job. Let's hear from the next person who has, what is your one takeaway? Shelby, what's your one takeaway?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, so I'll be honest, I missed like the first 3 steps because I had to leave the video.
Okay.
But I bet they were good. So anyways, my biggest thing for me, I think, has always been like trying to find time to do things that I need to do, like personally and physically. I mean, gym wise, meal prepping, those type of things. So I think that I just kind of looked at it the wrong way, and taking the steps that are needed to make a better process, or like you said, finding something negative to associate with not doing those things is a better way of going about it versus the ways that I had been going about it in the past.
Awesome, Shelby. Yeah, when you get a chance, go back and look at the first 3 steps, and you can start to actually practice that sequence.
I will.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Shelby. Really appreciate you. Awesome. Let's see. Let's have two more people that would like to contribute today.
Anthony, go.
All right, you got called out, Coach. Called out.
Oh man, well, I mean, it was amazing, Coach. We got to get this out to the millions of people that need to hear this. This is amazing. What you're sharing, the presentation and everything, just tremendous amount of value. I think, one of the things that really hit me was being able to replace, right? So with the Sabotage that I've had in the past, I've never really thought about replacing it with something that's positive, and I think just that clarity right there, that simplicity right there, to be able to replace it. And so there's a few things that, I've let go of in this past year. Sugar is one that's been a tough one for me. Chocolate covered pretzels, that's been my arch nemesis. That leads me into cake and leads me into cookies and leads me into everything else that's sugary, right? And so what I've been able to do now is I've replaced it, but I mean, I've stopped it for the most part, but replacing it, I haven't thought about what I'm going to do to be able to replace it, right? Like you said, drinking a gallon of water, or, doing some push-ups, or posting myself on Facebook if I'm eating a big piece of cake, what I mean? However that works. And so, what I've replaced it with, unconsciously, is more research, right? More research on what it does to my body and how it makes me react, not judging others on when they're doing it, but more looking at myself, looking inside myself and going, what this is doing to me. Is it okay for me to do this to myself? All right. And so now I can kind of understand it from that method. The second thing is too, as well, is being able to understand others that are sabotaging themselves, right? And being able to understand them more, so I can have more compassion upon them, instead of wanting to attack them, and want to have that animal instinct, like, okay, this person is doing this, or they're doing that, or they're saying this, or they're being this way, so I want to go attack them. But now having a more broader perspective, now that's given me so much clarity just listening in on this amazing training, is the fact of being able to see, like, okay, this is how this person is, or these people are, and this is how they sabotage themselves. And so understanding is so powerful, the understanding that I have now. So yeah, those are the two points. I could talk about 10 of them, but no, grateful. And thank you, Shelby, for calling me out.
No, I love that you brought that up, just the compassion that we can have toward the people in our lives, whether you're a coach or whether you have people in your lives that you love, your kids, your loved ones, your family, your friends, and you can see why they can self-sabotage. Sometimes in the past you may have gone, God damn it, you're so stupid, why would you do that? And now you can say, oh, they have mixed messages happening, and one part of them is telling them this, the other part's saying this, and now I can have compassion toward that and really be a good listener and a good friend toward that person. So that's powerful. Thanks, Coach. Very good.
Thank you, Coach.
Awesome. We have time for one last we got.
Okay, I'll go. Number 4 is kind of speaking out to me, just creating a new empowering environment. I've had a lot going on this year. I actually went back to school in September, did move, and kind of got myself just renting a room in that, but really stepping out of my comfort zone. Also just got out of a relationship that wasn't serving me very well. But one thing that really sticks out is a quote that my mentor had told me, that is, if the people around you aren't screaming success, they're validating average. And that's just huge for me, because I start thinking, what am I putting out there? And people know me as like the most positive person out there, because that's what I want to get back. But I still find a lot with the self-sabotage that I need to work on a few things.
And welcome to the club, for sure, and that's such a great thing that your mentor said. If they're not screaming success, then they're just, kind of living in that mediocrity state, it just depends on what do you really want for your life, and if once you start to ask those bigger questions, what do I really want for my life? Yeah, I do want those bigger things. It's like, why not me? Why not succeed? Why not make the money? Why not have fulfillment? Why not reach the top of a mountain? Why not travel the world? You know what I mean? So those are the kind of questions, because I used to kind of trick myself and say, I really want the simple life, which is true. Like, I really value simplicity. One of my favorite authors, Henry David Thoreau, talks about living on Walden's Pond and just the simplicity of this daily life that he lived on the pond. I was like, I love that idea. But then I realized you can have simplicity and still create goals and create achievements in your life and expand and grow. And one of the things that we all want in life as human beings is to expand and grow and create variety in our life, right? So, I love that you're really going for it. You're playing big, Tanya. Nice job.
Well, another quote I do have is, if not you, who? And if not now, when?
That's a good one. Say that one more time, please, just so we can really soak that in.
Okay, if not you, who? And if not now, when?
I love it. I love it. Hashtag, if not now, when? Yeah. Thank you, Tanya. That's all we have time for right now. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time. And knowing that you're on here just shows me that you're invested in yourself. And if you're invested in yourself, that means you're helping your family members, helping your community, and really out there as a game changer in the world. That's why I do what I do. That's why Coach Steele does what he does. That's why Coach Martha does what she does, and it just fires me up. So thank you guys so much. If I could be of any assistance or help, please reach out. I'll post the replay, but have a great night, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Forrest.
Peace. Thank you. Bye, Cynthia. Bye, Kathy.